Hi there, and welcome to your GG replay for Wednesday, September 29th, 2021. This is really the Empire Strikes Back of the week of GG replays. This is number 2 here. Really a bit darker this episode. GG replay is, of course, a Monday, Wednesday, Friday episode where we get into the latest in gaming news and break it down for you. Hosted by us, the Goodnight Groofs, a place for games and a place for some flippin' goofs, I tell ya. In this world, there's goofs. There is no Matt today, so the goofs you got are me, Paul, of course, like always, and Mike over there, cracking up at the unprofessionalism coming from the other side of the microphone. How you doing today, Mike? Thank you so much for coming in and
pretty
filling
good.
in. Well, Matt is moving cross country here. How's your Wednesday going?
Wednesday's going all right. It's been a rough week, but that's most weeks, so that's fine. I do appreciate that you went with Empire Strikes Back and not Clone Wars. So thank you for that.
This is really the what is it? The Last Jedi of
don't do
GG
that.
replay episodes.
Don't do that. People
hey,
turn this.
Are you one of those
people are going to turn this off?
I'm a pro Last Jedi person, I'll tell you right now. Best one of the series.
We're going to change the conversation before we start fighting.
Rogue One, the best one. All right, we'll move on. Phantom Menace. All right. We have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about today. Some interesting discussions to get into. Maybe some fisticuffs, some audio fisticuffs here, talking about all of my hot takes on Star Wars. I need Matt here to back me up. We have the same tier list. All right. Before we get into and we're both right. I objectively know that I'm wrong, but I still think I'm right about Rogue One being the best one, but everything else I'm wrong about. I think Phantom Menace is wrong. The rest of them is wrong. All right, moving on. We're gonna get right into this because there is a butt ton of stuff to talk about, if I may be so crude. If you come across any necessary corrections in today's episode, please send them over to ggreplayshow@gmail.com or head down to the YouTube comments below so we can address them in the next episode. We've had some great comments over the past week. We've I don't know if you've seen anyone out there, but we have been releasing our GG reviews. Mike has put out his review of Deathloop, which is our most viewed video. So congrats, Mike. You are carrying the Groof banner on your muscly back.
For now,
until we usurp you. And yes, and Matt put out his Kena review, Kena Bridge of Spirits, so definitely go check that out. I have a review of Sable, hopefully coming by the end of the week. I'm hoping by Friday, which is awesome.
Way to spoil it. We haven't even put out the promo yet.
Oh, well, you know what? If you're a special GG replay listener, you get a little bit of a spoiler. I always do that. I think I spoiled Matt's Kena review, too, on the podcast last week or something. But really, really cool to check that out. So we have a lot of stuff going on there and a lot of comments on those videos. So thank you to everyone. If there's any of you out there right now listening to the replay who have been commenting or checking out those review videos, thank you so much. Also appreciate if you want to comment on the replays, but totally fair. There is a lot more to talk about with the reviews in terms of your subjective experience playing the game. So
yeah, really you get cool to argue with this guy who thinks that Last Jedi was a good movie. So know the standard of his reviews.
I mean, just burn it all down, baby. Burn it all down. All right. Listen, no, okay. We can't get into this. We'll save this for whenever we eventually make that show that's just us talking about bullshit. Isn't that every show that we do? All right, let's get it. Yeah, that's exactly it, right? Let's get right into it, Mike. So used to saying things. The reviews are in, Mike. They are in there. They checked the mailbox, and we got 2 games that have been reviewed on OpenCritic by many critics, and we're going to talk about them for a couple minutes. First off, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, of course, an arcade game here. Used to be a Sega property. I mean, it still is a Sega property, but it's not what it once was. I don't know. What are you gonna say? It was a lot more exciting in 2001 or whatever when Monkey Ball was coming out versus 2021. Yeah. All right. Got a 78 on OpenCritic, and that is going to be out on October 5th. So next week, which is really exciting. I think it's Tuesday. Now I'll just start off by saying, poor Matt, he's missing out on this one. I know he was really, really excited to talk about how much he doesn't like Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Every time we watch a stream of it, or if you've seen any of our live streams, he he just dunks on the game the whole time and thinks it looks like a PS2 game. I can't blame him for thinking it looks like a PS2 game. But anyway, we're just gonna have to go on with some actual constructive discussion maybe about the game. Darn. Yeah, I don't know, Mike. What do you think? I mean, I think it looks fun. It's hard to argue that this isn't like a fun platformy game. I mean, it's Monkey Ball. It's more of the Monkey Ball we've seen 1,000 times, and if you've played with those monkeys balls before, do you what do you think here? Does this anything here wow you?
No. I was gonna make a joke of it's a shame that it's getting such low reviews because I think it should be deserving of much higher, but like I can't honestly say that. I'm surprised it got 78. Honestly, as whoever made this game should be high fiving and fist pumping.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look good. I don't know what else
Looks
to
bad.
say. Looks really bad.
Even the gameplay, like, listen, I mean, I understand them moving the thing around and rolling the ball. Like, I understand that's a timeless mechanic, sure. But at the same time,
Yeah.
also, I feel like we could have look at like Mario Galaxy or then Odyssey. Look at how you could like evolve a franchise, evolve characters, evolve the gameplay, and add in new interesting quirks. This is the same game. This is the same everything.
Yeah.
And even at $30, which is obviously, it's not a full price game, and they're aware of that. Even at $30, that's steep to play Monkey Ball. Number 1,000. There's nothing different about it.
Yeah, it's weird, and it looks like something that I would play at Dave and Buster's. And you don't see me going to Dave and Buster's, so I'm gonna pass. But thanks. Yep. Also,
totally fair.
Putting Morgana in the game is not gonna make me want to buy it.
No, all the DLC characters are so weird. And also like the fact that there was no Mario, like what a funny DLC that would have been. I know I'm just maybe grasping, but that might have been like something where I go, all right, I wasn't gonna play Super Monkey Ball. But yeah, I think they could have gone. Yeah. I think almost they didn't go crazy enough with the characters. I think Morgana and some of these ones were like a little too close to what the source was, or a little too random, while still being easy for them to obtain. I think they should have tried a little harder to get some really weird rights and see what comes out of it. Kind of like Modern Smash does with you're like Solid Snake in a Monkey Ball. All right, like that's cool.
Yeah, I think you're putting a little too much stake into how much effort was put into this.
Yeah, this is borderline a port of like levels they never finished for the other Monkey Ball games, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to another arcade class. Something else you might play at Dave and Buster's. Steel Assault. It's a 2D action platformer game. Got an 85 on OpenCritic, and that is out right now. That game looks pretty good for what it is. If you want to play a classic 2D action platformer, you got that Japanese kind of story. It very much like reminds me kind of like a Mega Man, or maybe even like, I don't know, Contra or something. This looks good. The graphic style is like verbatim. This is the graphic style from that game. Nothing really new here. I mean, obviously the pinnacle of what you can do with that kind of style, but yeah, and it does look nice for what it is. But I'm not really crazy for throwback graphics like that. From that era. In addition, the music sounds really cool. The chip tune and the general, sound design sounds really, really good together. It definitely creates a nostalgic effect, but I think Matt and I have talked about this before. This SNES kind of Genesis nostalgia for 2D games just is not an era that I really have. Like, Sonic and stuff I do, but not really these shooty action platformer games. Mike, is this something? It's great to see it got reviewed really well, but is this something you would play, or something that really gravitates to you at all?
No, not at all. And like, is this a new this is a new installment of Steel Assault?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just like a remake or a remaster or whatever.
I don't believe so.
Okay, I mean, like, I get it saying. I was going to say I get it, but honestly, like, I kind of don't. I don't get it. I don't get why this game is getting such high reviews. I mean, maybe it's good. I'm going to, before people start stringing me up, it's probably good. But, like, what makes it good, I guess? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. The NES graphics and stuff. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm
This
very
era
over it.
just
I
isn't
don't
for
know.
me.
No.
I think we can progress and do graphic and take graphical steps here that take that inspiration, but then do something a little more, I
Yeah.
don't know, interesting with them.
I
Uh,
and don't get me wrong. Graphics don't make a game, but like I just it feels like it's pulling heavy on the nostalgia.
yeah,
I shrug. I shrug. I'm
yeah,
sure it's probably good. If it got an 8 out of 10, sure, maybe it's good.
yeah. They wanted to
Um,
make Contra. It looks like they succeeded. So good.
eh, they
Anyone who
wanted to
wants to
make
play
another
that?
Steel Assault. It looks
Yeah.
like they did that. I guess. I don't
So
know. I'm not familiar with Steel Assault, anyways. So, all right.
yeah. So looks good. Yeah. Apparently, it's an original IP from what I see. It looks like it's an original IP that is like taking inspiration from Contra and Castlevania and some other games from SNES. So yep. So who
Okay.
knows? Interesting stuff. Not for me, but for someone out there. Let's get into the stories. These will be a little more interesting, so I promise we'll have more to say about them. But just those
Yeah.
games were not top of our list, but it is cool to
No.
see them getting around in 80. I'm sure everyone looking to buy those games and has been excited for those is really going to enjoy them. Now, let's talk about something that we are very excited about, both Mike and I. Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac, Marvel Spider-Man 2, which is pretty exciting. I saw the story and I saw Spider-Man 2 and I was like, wait, like the Tobey Maguire one, like
Hmm.
the original PS2 game? Are we talking about
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
The best
this
one.
one, so yeah, apparently this will be quote darker entry. And they're comparing it to The Empire Strikes Back, which was my joke at the top of the show. You can now go back and go, oh, this is mildly funny. Speaking on the latest This Week in Marvel podcast, Marvel's creative vice president Bill Roseman briefly discussed the game, saying, quote, if the first Spider-Man game was Star Wars, I assume he's speaking about A New Hope, Spider-Man 2 is kind of our empire. Roseman said, quote, it gets a little darker. So, that's something. But I mean, Mike, the first game had some pretty dark elements, I think. I don't want to get too into like the weeds and like spoil everything, but I mean there were some pretty major character betrayals, relationships that were really dug into, some pretty tearful moments, some anger. We saw one major character death that was pretty emotionally impactful. Um,
Raising my eyebrow at the major character death.
Well, I think like in terms of like in terms of Spider-Man continuity and like a 616
Sure. Sure.
continuity,
Sure.
it's a
Sure.
pretty
Yeah.
major death generally that it impacts the story and it impacts Peter's story. So
Yeah.
I think there were some pretty dark elements. How much darker can we get? Do we think like Venom could make it darker? The Harry Osborn thing. What do you think might? What do you predict might be the thing that makes this darker?
I think Craven. I think 100% it's going to be Craven that makes this game darker. And I think by them saying that it's Empire in the first game, like if I'm remembering, and I feel like they're referring specifically to the first Spider-Man game, not talking about the Miles Morales
I agree.
chapter. Um, if I think back to it, it was very, there were heavy moments in the game. There was a character death. And for the most part, it was pretty like thinking about A New Hope. Yeah, Alderaan gets exploded, which is
Yeah,
huge.
yeah,
But overall, the good guys win. And then you
right.
think about Empire, and the good guys don't win.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that's what they're kind of getting at. And I think with this game, especially with Craven being in it, I feel like Craven's going to be winning at least by the climax of the game.
Do
I
you
think that's what they're
think,
getting at.
talking about that, do you think it's possible that they could be, hey, two big games is a pretty good amount here. Do you think it's possible that Craven succeeds and kills Spider-Man, leading to a Miles Morales like vengeance
See,
storyline, like
I was
a
thinking that, but
I don't
okay.
know. That's an interesting thought. When you bring up the bad guy winning, that's a good way for the bad guy to win, and then for everyone to get that little thing they get where they're like, "Hey, Miles is now Spider-Man." But I mean, I think we're pretty successfully showing that in these games, and even in current 616 continuity,
Yeah.
where the worlds have merged. You can have both Miles and Peter exist, and the stories aren't bad.
Yeah.
Um,
So I was thinking about that. I think they could kill off Peter. I think it would make sense in some of the Spider-Man stories that have been told throughout the comics history. I don't personally I don't want Peter dead
Me
because
neither.
that
Same.
kind of I'm still fingers crossed that this game is co-op because there are two
Yes.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Um but I also think with Wolverine being announced, I feel like killing off Peter in Spider-Man 2 leaves a big gap in introducing Wolverine and Spider-Man to each other.
Yeah.
Not to say that Miles couldn't just take the mantle and meet Wolverine, but I feel like as much as I love Miles, because I do, I love him in the comics as well. Like Peter is the original, and
Yep.
Peter meeting Wolverine, Logan would make sense.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like if it's going to be a major character death, God, it's got to be a love interest.
Well,
It's got to be MJ, but that feels weird.
yeah, so that's why I mentioned here in the notes, like I was dredging up old tweets. I saw people talking about this on online the other day and saying that like Brian Intahar, there's like an old tweet from like before the game came out in 2018 saying, joking about how Gwen Stacy is not confirmed dead in their universe. We haven't really mentioned if Gwen Stacy's alive or dead. There hasn't really been any references to Gwen. Um, could that be a role? I saw a lot of people saying, "Please God, no," but I also saw a lot of people saying, "Sure, yeah, I'd love that." I think a lot of people have this. I saw very mixed views, and I think I don't want to get too into the weeds of Spider-Man, but I will say, like the Spectacular Spider-Man shows portrayal of Gwen, and the Amazing Spider-Man movies portrayal of Gwen portrays like a much more interesting, sciency Gwen that I think a lot of people really like now, and they think that's like a good match for Peter. But I think like a lot of people forget to like original comic Gwen was kind of like a wet piece of cardboard. And
Yeah.
that's why MJ was such an interesting character and
Yeah.
change, and that's why that worked so well.
Hmm.
Because it was less settled than Gwen. People didn't like settled Spidey, with traditional wife setup.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if they. So I mean, it depends on what depiction they're going for, and I think that also underpins if you're interested in Gwen or not. Because some people go like, if they haven't really paid attention to those other characterizations, they'll go, "What's the point? MJ is so much better." So it really it flicks between them. Also, it really feels like Peter now has this house, and he's with Mary Jane, and they're in this settled relationship, and they broke up for a while and came back together, and now it seems like they're really moving forward with their life. They're settling down a bit. Um, in that scenario, it seems weird to imagine him like being in a different relationship at this point. It seems like you're
Yeah.
saying it would have to be MJ to die in this scenario with like potential for him remarrying, but it feels like they spent the entire main plot of the game almost. There's an entire B plot where he's like getting back together with MJ, like for
Hmm.
good, seemingly. And that's heavy in the first DLC too. Is a lot of their relationship.
Yeah.
In addition to Felicia Hardy. And so it seems weird to me. The only way, I think it's more likely, again, I would say if I had to put my money on it, it's more likely for Peter to die than MJ to die. Because if we're going to like unsettle their life in some way that's going to like make their happy ending look, sadder, it would be Peter dying in some sacrificial, crazy way, and not MJ dying to be fridged. That seems weird to me.
Yeah. And I guess my problem is I think I think the thing with killing off Peter or killing off MJ at this point is like it's kind of like it's kind of like my mom watches soap operas, okay?
Sure.
And it's like every character on a soap
Mike,
opera is never
Mike, there's no shame. You can admit that you watch
no,
soap
I
operas. We've all
don't.
done
But
it.
she does. But like every character, no character gets a happy ending, and it's like, why does Peter Parker Spider Man have to end in tragedy? Is
Because
my
Peter
question.
Parker's entire life is tragedy, so why not make it end that way too? The story of Peter Parker is trauma porn, and it always should be. It's so good that way. That's one of my favorite parts about the Ultimate Spider-Man run that creates smiles is Peter dying young in this tragic
Hmm.
way, sacrificing himself. After his life was shit for like most of it.
Yeah.
um, That's kind of like a big facet of the character, and I think a lot of people go like, "Why does it have to be?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it probably makes sense. I agree. Why does it have to be?" But also, it's
Well,
kind
like
of why I like
even
it.
even this game, it kind of has a different tone because when they showed Miles in the first game, I expected Peter to die. Like
Mhm.
I was like, oh shit, they're gonna kill off Peter and we're gonna play as Miles, aren't we? And
Well, it's
then
pretty interesting because this is the first time I can think of where I've seen an instance or a version of Miles that became Spider-Man without Peter dying as his
right,
great responsibility moment, great power, great
exactly,
responsibility moment.
exactly. So like seeing that, I'm just like, okay, this is a wild, different take. Let's
Hmm.
make it more wild. Let's let Peter retire. Go to the retirement home with MJ. Have kids. Do
Oh my
something.
golly. Maybe. All right, we gotta wrap
Yeah,
this
we
one
gotta
up
move
because we're
on.
gonna talk about Spider-Man forever. But I will say, lots of interesting ideas of how this could get dark. I think we really went into it, and I definitely am excited to see it. I hope it doesn't become edgy for edgy's sake, and it just tinges the story, delves a little bit more into the characters, and we give into a little bit more of that dark comic book storyline. Let's do it. So, and I agree with you in the sense of I really hope it's not just some Harry Osborn drama. I just like being Venom or something, and I'm just not particularly interested. I'm not saying I won't be interested in that, but I hope that's not like the dark moment because I don't know. We've seen
I
like
think
friends being sacrificed and becoming evil. It's not. It's kind of
yeah,
dumb.
I think the dark moment is going to be Craven related. I think it has to be.
I really
I don't
hope
think it's
so.
Venom related. Venom to me is just like this chaotic force.
It's too over the top and
Yeah.
and fun to be to be like truly dark.
Yeah.
It's
Craven's
more
more
like Zack
like
Snyder dark.
I'm going to eviscerate someone that you love
Yeah.
in front
Love
of your
it.
eyes.
I'm down. Eviscerate away. I'm ready. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about our favorite gotcha game, Genshin Impact. I'm sure everyone here has been following it. If you have not been, that's totally okay. No, most of us don't actually. Genshin Impact is getting review bombed right now for its anniversary event debacle, I would say. MiHoYo. So typically, in gotcha games, anniversary is a big deal. Every year there's like a big event in almost any gotcha game I've ever played where they have like a million ways to pull new skins and characters and new ways to do everything, and there's a ton of like free stuff. And that's just kind of part of it. And a lot of times people go, I put up with the fact that this is a lot of a pay to win game, or there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on, microtransactions, because they do have these events sometimes, and that make it that one event might carry you to the next year, for a little bit, have some new characters to give you at least a few months of fun or something. MiHoYo has not planned basically anything for the anniversary of Genshin Impact. They have a couple special polls that I've seen, but nothing that's like out of the realm of the ordinary. They have a really, from what I've seen, an insulting like art contest where you win like really bad real life prizes or something that amount to almost nothing. It's kind of a strange thing, and they're basically fully silent about this. People are speaking out a lot, and MiHoYo is really not acknowledging it or talking about it. So it sounds like it's not something that they really want to fix or change or make an effort to really address. And so players have done what they naturally do, which is take to the internet and get real angry. And so we have seen review bombs for Genshin Impact all over the place. People are going and giving it super negative reviews and just trying to bomb the game, lower the score, and see what they can do to maybe show the devs how they're feeling about it. My question to you, Mike, is this warranted? Is this, I mean, obviously, like I said, anniversary events are common. You do expect that to happen. It is nice when the developers throw you a bone here and there, but ultimately, these are games that are meant to be like a microtransaction thing. These games are meant to milk you dry. As much as they, may or some might say they're not, that's what it is. And I don't think Genshin Impact is even really that shy about saying it. And so, is it really fair to feel shortchanged in this scenario when that's kind of the bulk of the game?
um I would say yes, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know that I agree with review bombing as a
yeah,
reactionary tool. Just stop
yeah.
playing the game. Like I
Agreed.
I
Stop
I
spending your money.
Yeah, don't pay them any money if you're upset. But regardless, yeah, I would be upset if I was a Genshin Impact stan because this is kind of ridiculous. Even
Yeah,
in the sense, even not even in the sense that it's like a gotcha game. Like it's essentially a live service role playing game with
yeah,
microtransactions and like every game that has a live service that is constantly updated, be it an MMO or an RPG or a competitive multiplayer game, when they have anniversaries, they give out free shit. Like
yeah,
that's just what they do.
yeah.
So I don't really understand it. It's very
No.
odd, and I know talking to some people that actually play the game, they're just recycling one of their old festivals or events or whatever,
Yeah,
and it's just like, really? And to sit here and say, well, it's a gotcha game, it's fine if you're getting shortchanged. It's like, yeah, but MiHoYo has like, this is one of the most
yeah.
successful gotcha games over in the Western hemisphere. So it's like, I think they got their money.
Yeah, I would agree. It's
So,
also interesting when you see a game that's actually a game. Like, I mean, Genshin Impact is
hmm,
one of the most successful at being a game that I've ever seen from a gacha in
yeah,
the Western world for sure. Most of them are like little phone games where you auto play most of it. Even Marvel's new like MMO sort of game, Future Revolution, that's like on mobile, is you can auto play the whole game.
that's what I
So
want to do.
yeah, that's what I want to do. Just sit there, watch a TV show, and let the game play itself. I can watch the
Sounds like
gameplay.
Death
I can watch
Stranding. Sign me
it.
up.
Yeah, right. It's actually the second Strand type game. Kojima is right behind it. But yeah, honestly, yeah, it's interesting to see a game that has so many of these elements and yet still kind of isn't really leaning into. It's funny to see the loot boxes and stuff in a real game, and the pulling
Mhm.
of multiple cards and seeing how many you can get. It seems like that's like you look at Marvel's Avengers, and I don't want to give any big credit to that game, but at the very least, you can like buy items and buy sets and buy things a bit more
Yeah.
individually. There's not like the loot box mechanic or the pulling, pull a 10 pull with your diamond mechanic. And that's, I would say closer, Genshin Impact's closer to being like a game like Marvel's Avengers than it is like, Dragon Ball, the one with the bubbles, bubble shooter Dragon Ball game. Uh, and and so yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of funny that they still do that. I saw people talking about maybe like the anniversary thing's more of a Japanese thing, and this is like a Korean thing, but then also MiHoYo's other uh, game, one of their other gotcha games they have, does have like big anniversary events. So doesn't really track there. So
Also, like, there's big Korean MMOs, and I'm sure they have anniversary
yeah.
things. So,
So
um,
yeah, it's
yeah,
obviously a mess. It's not great. I hope that does get fixed for people because I agree with you. I wrote that kind of leading question, but uh,
yeah.
but I do agree that ultimately I think that the anniversary event does seem to be a staple of the genre. So just put it in, just give
Just
people some free stuff. It takes very little. I recently got back into playing AFK Arena after talking to Matt about it. I played it last night. I'm in there in 2 years, and I got like so much free shit when I came back. I got so much stuff and like all these like things, and I was like, oh, "This is exciting!" Like, all right, free stuff makes you want to play these games. I tell you, you need to
true.
do it every once in a while to keep people going because you can't just run on whales. I tell you.
I mean,
All
they
right,
can, but
no,
they
that's
shouldn't.
true. They can, but they should. They should. Makes PvP boring.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Talking about, let's move to single player games, less games as a service here. Well, or it could be, well, more like a service that has games. Netflix has finally made their first acquisition of a game studio, and this is the creators of Oxenfree, Night School Studio. They released a little press release on their website saying that they've been acquired by Netflix to make games for them, and of course, they are the first game studio of that. Netflix just over the summer really started talking about their upcoming plans to really move into gaming, which is we really didn't know, and we still don't 100% know what that means. I think most of us on GG, the Game Groofs, I think we talked about this months ago, saying, I almost think on the first episode, saying that this could be a kid-focused thing, the Netflix gaming, more so than like, games for all audiences or adult games or these storytelling games that we kind of thought they might put on there. But then we see this acquisition. This is a point-and-click adventure game with dialogue choices. This really feels like the Netflix storytelling telltale kind of game that I thought we might initially get on this service. Now, obviously, this is this studio definitely has a bit of a cartoony vibe with some of the stuff they've made, but I mean, it's still firmly in the teen genre, not really like a kids thing. So interesting to see. Mike, what do you think about this? I know before we shared this news, I don't think you looked into Oxenfree before, but I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it or see if that how that gels with Netflix.
Yeah, no, I looked at it. I mean, it makes sense. Oxenfree looks like a little bit more active. Actually, no, I wouldn't even say that. It looks pretty much like a Telltale game.
Yeah.
And that makes sense with Netflix's platform, especially if they're going to offer it through the Netflix, search, whatever you want to call it, or
Yeah.
the program. I still question, and I will continue to question, how do I play a game on Netflix? What do I use as a controller? Is it going to be my TV remote?
And they also mentioned like before that their main focus wasn't on streaming. Like that wasn't
right.
a main part of the game. Or
So
gaming, sorry, on Netflix gaming. So like how are we doing it? Are I downloading games to individual devices with like Netflix's download feature?
yeah,
Then they play locally. How is Apple going to like it when Netflix has a feature where you can download games to your device from their store? These are all great questions to ask.
I don't. That's gonna be fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I already don't think they like it that you can download individual episodes of things to, to a
No.
store. At least those are still like a service. But I mean, look at what happened but they're very touchy about games, and
They're
that is
very
something
touchy
we've seen
about a
with.
lot of things, and it's
Yeah,
like, I don't know. I have a very negative outlook on Apple, but that's just me.
that's fair.
Um,
Yeah, I think it's warranted in a lot of ways. This walled garden for sure. Yeah,
so
yeah, a lot of interesting questions we still don't have answers to
yeah,
with Netflix gaming.
no idea
But
how it's gonna work, but it makes sense. They're making smart acquisitions at the very least.
yeah, smart acquisition, one good one so far. Let's hope there are
And
other
smart
good ones in the
hirings. I
future.
mean, they
Yep,
hired some good people from teams that didn't make anything,
like
but it's
Zynga,
okay. Yeah, Zynga.
which is
But
good.
they're making moves. We'll see if it amounts to
They are.
anything. But
It really feels like they want this to be something big in their mind, at least. But their acquisitions and the team, it still feels like it's going to actually be a small product, but a big market shift for them. So we'll have to see what that
mm.
means. But
So like New World.
interesting. Yeah, honestly, yeah. Um, Almost the opposite. I feel like. I feel like New World's kind of a big product, but like means nothing to Amazon.
I don't
Whereas I
think.
feel.
Have you seen? There's like tons of marketing for it. Like they're
Yeah, but
spending
I mean,
money
like
on
their
it.
business. I mean, their business
Oh,
wise, right?
yeah,
Because I feel like
yeah.
Netflix gaming could really like change how Netflix
We're
operates.
not
They could like,
we're not here to talk about New World. I could talk for an hour
no,
about New World
talk about
and
New World. I'm
get like
sure.
probably
Um,
thousands of thumbs down on this video. So
exactly. We have not. We're no Game Groofs this week, as you may have heard if you're subscribed to the feed. But I'm sure the next week we might eventually talk about some New World because I know some people, some Groofs that are playing it. It will come up at least around the water cooler, and I'm sure we'll have more to say on
yep, and
that.
I will piss
Uh,
Matt off, so it'll
oh
be
yeah.
great.
It'll be like anytime we try to talk about The Witcher 3.
Yeah,
um,
but that I'm actually just memeing about. This I'm
yeah.
actually like feel
Like The
this
Witcher 3 is one
way.
of those ones like I feel like objectively it's like a good like experience. This is like well anyway, we'll get into that later. Another day.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about talking about things that have almost become a meme at this point. Activision Blizzard's getting sued again. Did you hear about that, Mike?
Yeah, I
this
did.
time, this time by the, or rather was sued, is more the way to say it.
Yeah.
U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. So basically, the federal government again has sued Activision Blizzard. But don't worry, because Activision Blizzard settled immediately for
Immediately.
$18 million. No sooner did the story come out that their like press release came out that they'd settled. And for $18 million, which is ooh, what a hit. and have agreed to develop tools and training programs to assist efforts to improve workplace experiences. Well, basically, write some new bullshit in the HR guidebook.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I have yet to imagine there's going to be any real. Anyway, this comes hot on the heels of the company being sued by the state of California, their own employees, and most recently the SEC. So, the federal government of the United States. And here was another big federal government lawsuit, but at least they were able to settle this one because unlike the SEC one with investors who are like, where's my fucking money? This one, they can kind of go like, people, they care. The government cares a lot less about employee well-being than money. So, this one they can settle real quick. This one's just about the employees' welfare. We can get that one out there real fast. Just like we'll do better, guys. We'll do better. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think? What do you think of $18 million? And do you think this is going to spur any change in the employment practices at Blizzard?
It's fucking garbage. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's just garbage. I mean, $18 million, Blizzard doesn't care.
Billion-dollar company.
Yeah, that sentence that you could have given an assignment to like a sophomore business student at any university.
It sounds like something someone would write in their undergrad.
Yeah, like it just sounds like garbage. It sounds so bad, and
it's PR bullshit. Not even good PR bullshit.
I hate to laugh at it, but it's becoming just laughable at this point because it's so transparent. It's so we really don't give a shit. The fact that they settled so quickly, I mean, yeah, it's just you settle quickly because you know that you fucked up and you just want to get it out of the way.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to win this. Also, this is something they probably thought they could settle pretty easily too and not waste more money because they're already embroiled in so many lawsuits, and they did, and they wasted almost. This cost them so much less than I'm sure going through the lawsuit would have cost them. In addition to like the time that they would have spent being dragged over the coals, and like this is another thing that's going to like for them like ruin their image. So if they can get this one like under the, I've already seen people kind of go like, oh, like they settled and they're going to try harder. Like I saw a couple, very few, but I saw some people go like, well, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe they'll try, like whatever. Like this one's kind of gone now, you know what I mean? Because it's not an ongoing lawsuit. People kind of count this one as like a closed case a little bit. And it's like, well, at least they don't have 4 lawsuits. And it's like, well, they did. I mean, realistically, they did. They just like paid one off. But anyway, ultimately, I mean, this is a train wreck. I mean, there's no way. I mean, Kotick owns so many shares. Kotick is Activision, Bobby Kotick. And I just don't see people going like, oh, Kotick has to leave. He's never going to leave.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's never going to leave.
The only reason he would leave is publicly to like make people feel as though it's not. But I mean, this dude's influence is not going anywhere on this company.
It depends on how pissed off shareholders are. And the fact that the SEC is getting involved with that investigation means that they're kind of pissed off.
They're real pissed off.
I mean, I would be too if, their head of HR and, the head of the company was telling you, we're fine. We treat our employees well. It's not going to affect your bottom line, et cetera, et cetera. Like, no.
It also turns out like one of the people who built one of like the most popular games from Blizzard was always a piece of garbage for like 16 years. It's like, this is stuff that like, you telling me like head honchos didn't know this. Like, again, I'm not trying to, I'm just like talking for even for the emotional aspect of this point or the human rights. I'm just talking about for the investors, I can see why they would be like, you kind of screwed us here. And like I said earlier at the top of this story, money is what matters here. For whatever, for better, for worse. I mean, obviously for worse, that's what's going to bring them down if they lose this SEC thing. I mean, it depends on how pissed the shareholders are, and they are pissed.
Yeah, exactly. And as cynical or rough as it is to say, like that is the be all end all of it. Like the civil rights or employee rights of it all is important and should be at the forefront. But at the end of the day, it needs to have a financial impact or the suits aren't going to listen. Yeah.
right? Like look at Riot or look at
And that's the
Ubisoft.
thing.
These aren't seeing the financial impacts that you're seeing at
Right.
Blizzard, and that's why
Right,
they're able to
exactly.
continue on with Ubisoft constantly doing that. Like, oh, and same with Riot, they're
Yeah.
both doing that thing with like where they basically are developing tools and training programs to assist efforts to
Yeah,
improve
they're
workplace
just
experience.
they're
But it's
on
like,
attempt number 17.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, we
Whereas
didn't get the first draft right. It's fine.
yeah. Whereas
Um
Blizzard's crashing and burning because
yeah.
they did it too bad. It's too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've tipped the scales to the point where it's costing money, and that's where we really get into trouble.
Well, the other thing is like it was Blizzard was also, on this cusp of like poor quality of games.
Yeah.
And then you come out and tell me, "Oh, it's because, all of our, developers are drunk and doing
Yep.
really shitty things towards women."
Yep.
It's just like,
Yep.
"Oh, now this all makes sense."
Yeah.
Blizzard, what
Absolutely.
the fuck? Yeah, it's but yeah, with Blizzard, I think it's they're in trouble for sure for this, but you look at your Ubisoft and your Riot and it's like how quickly did that start and then immediately disappear? Like,
Absolutely.
and I feel like Bobby Kotick has to be sitting there saying, "Damn it, why can't we just be like Riot and just everyone forget about this?"
Yeah,
But like,
absolutely. I think they're thinking that, and I think it's a couple things, right? I think it's that these things were exceptionally bad and for such a long time, and I
mhm,
think that's a big thing, right? Is when we look back at these things and
yeah,
and things that are really newsworthy too. But I mean, you look at Riot too, and like tell me that like the CEO farting on people's faces isn't newsworthy. It is for sure, right? I mean, that shit is like
100%.
it's pretty newsworthy. That's almost as interesting as reading about the Cosby Suite, like in terms of a gotcha headline, like a
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good. But at the same time, I don't. What makes Blizzard different here? Is it just? I think you're right. Is that people weren't sick of Riot games and people weren't
No.
sick of Ubisoft games in the same way. People and it's sad to say, unfortunately, but the thing that's pushing Blizzard over the edge is that people were already sick of the games and pissy with Blizzard, and
Yeah.
then now they have an excuse to kind of justify it more and be like, well, now I don't like Blizzard because of this whole thing and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, yeah, but like I don't want to like put words in your mouth, but like I think you were mainly just pissed because the games suck, which is like valid, but also like
But also
weird.
this.
Also, like this stuff is probably more important,
Yeah.
but yeah. But I
But
think
yeah,
those like
like
things going hand in hand are really like a problem too. But
look at the last like 5 years of Blizzard. We had a couple pretty bad BlizzCons. We had one really bad BlizzCon with
yeah,
all of the memes,
yeah,
which is actually the last BlizzCon that I can actually remember. Is
yeah,
the Diablo Immortal? Don't you guys
yeah.
have
Do you have
phones?
phones? Don't you guys have
Is this
phones?
a
Yeah,
is this a poorly timed April Fool's joke? Like, that's all I remember of BlizzCon. I don't
oh
remember
yeah,
any other BlizzCon at this point, and
no,
it's like,
no. It's all blending together.
yeah. And then you come off of that into a pretty bad, uh, you know, pretty barren expansion for WoW. After Warcraft 3 Reforged flops, it's just
hmm
how much more can you take?
Overwatch
And
2 is a disaster.
yeah, I mean, I've seen some hype for Overwatch 2, but not a lot. And a lot of the
Well, I'm
pros are
not saying there's
saying
not
that,
hype. I'm just saying it looks like the development is a disaster.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
keeps getting pushed back. I mean, for
you got,
good reason. It's the company is falling to pieces, and like the main leads of Overwatch 2 are leaving or being
yeah,
ousted for various reasons.
yeah, exactly.
It's a
So,
mess. So anyway, there we go. There's another one in the can for Blizzard. They managed to cross one off the checklist here the second it came out, which I'm sure they're happy about. They're like 4, and they're like, okay, well we can throw one away. That's nice. So we can cross one off the list. But yeah, I'm sure this is not the last lawsuit we're going to report from Blizzard or for Blizzard. I think there's going to be a lot more going on there. This is an ongoing story, and whew, it's a mess. All right. Let's leave on a positive note. Let's talk about something kind of cool, I think. On the Xbox and the Halo Twitter, it was announced that everyone on Xbox can play the Halo Infinite technical preview for Weekend 2, which is pretty awesome. The technical preview weekend will be October 1st to 3rd, so it's this weekend coming up. and it's open to everyone. So before it was previously a thing where you had to be like a Halo insider, which is not a big deal to sign up for. But even then, certain Halo insiders weren't like getting the email with the flight or like being able to like sign in or set up the beta, or the technical preview. So this is pretty cool. I will be playing Halo this weekend. I'm really excited. I know it's not the game, but I'm really excited to get in and feel it out. I know there's been a lot of opportunities to do it this far if you really wanted to. But I'll be frank and say I haven't really wanted to, but I'm excited that it's just kind of thrusted in front of my screen to check out. Mike, are you going to be playing? Have you gotten a chance to play Halo yet? Or are you thinking you might
No,
play
I
some this
haven't.
weekend?
I have not been able to play Halo yet, and I probably won't be this weekend. I wish it was on PC.
Yeah, I totally
Most of
get
my
that. They're saying
gaming,
the Steam info is coming later, so we
yeah,
might see Steam and stuff. It's possible, but
yeah, it would have to
yeah,
be on PC. Just because I don't know, I'm lazy.
yeah, totally fair.
I do a lot of my gaming on the PC, so unfortunately, I probably won't be checking out. I do have an Xbox Series X. It's sitting in the other room, but that would require me to turn it on.
Uh,
So I know the
the
effort.
the effort, forget it.
Um, I don't know. Maybe I might check it
Maybe,
out if I'm not
maybe.
busy, but
Mhm.
I'm still excited about it. I got to see some gameplay this week
Right, Josh was
from
playing a little bit, right? He's
yeah.
in the beta, right?
Yeah, he
Or
got into the
something. Yeah,
flight, and
yeah.
I got to see some of it. It looks really good. It looks like Halo, which is great. And
It
like I
is
said,
great.
can't wait for it to be on PC so that I can play it at my comfort on PC.
Totally fair. I
So,
did see people saying that there's a chance about that, but I think it's mostly like for Halo insiders still, not the everyone
yeah, and
thing.
that's
So,
fine. I can wait
um,
till November.
yeah, totally fair. December, Mike, December 8th, I think. Uh,
December. Oh, right. November's Battlefield. I can
November's
wait
now
till November
Battlefield.
to be distracted
Yeah.
by Battlefield,
Yeah,
and then
exactly. And then free Halo comes out. You can play some of the
free
multiplayer.
Halo. That
I'm really
is,
excited, honestly,
oh
because
my god.
I love Halo. I think I'm one of the many who love Halo multiplayer. I'm who's done with the story. I don't care at all. I
I
probably
don't
won't buy
either.
it. I probably won't buy it at all. I used to care about the story for a bit and like three, and then I bought four thinking I might. But by the time five came around, I did buy five because I wanted to play the multiplayer, but I didn't even play the story. So
Yeah.
now there's an option where I can play the best part of the game for free. Yes, I will be doing that. I'm very excited. They'll probably get my money. Like I will. This seems like if it's good and true to the game and has a really fleshed out, cool system, I will buy battle passes. I will buy skins. I will do stuff in this game
Yeah.
because it's so cool to see like a AAA legacy shooter franchise game. I know like COD obviously has the thing Warzone,
Warzone, yeah.
but to see like a full mode with all the multiplayer modes and everything for free, really makes me excited because previously I've been playing Fortnite and other battle royales and stuff. It's so cool that I could sink real money into battle passes for a multiplayer game.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I'm psyched.
I'm super
Classic shooter.
excited.
Yeah. So
Super excited.
the more time is ticking away, the more excited I'm getting. I did download Splitgate to try to tide me over a little bit, but I don't even know if I'm gonna bother playing that much because I'm worried I'm gonna get into it just to get good enough to where people start using portals and I get pissed off because I'll never figure it out on console. But we'll see. I just feel like that's gonna be the jankiest thing ever on console. I know nothing about it, but I just feel like that is gonna work better on PC almost in my brain, and I'll get owned. But I don't
Maybe.
know. I don't know. Yet to be seen. I'll let you
I
know
thought it would
if I
be
ever get into
janky as
Splitgate.
well, and it turned out pretty intuitive. So,
Yeah, I'm bad at shooters, so I want it to be as simple as possible. So we'll see.
I mean, you
Um,
can. I don't like do crazy shit with the portals, but like you can
that's
just
fair.
shoot a portal across the way, shoot a portal near you, and then just use it to camp. Like you
That's
can
true.
use it as a perch, which is
That's cool.
nice.
Can you
So
shoot through the portals? Like, do
yeah,
bullets go through them? That's so cool.
and people can shoot back through your portals, but
Yeah.
if it's not your portal, you can't see through it.
Oh, okay.
So
Very
just
interesting.
bear in mind that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, Splitgate's cool. Really excited for Halo. This is going to be awesome.
Yep.
Mike, we've just been chatting today. What a great show. Good chat. We do have a couple more things before we head out of the old recording room for the day for y'all at home. First off, right now, stop what you're doing. Take those soapy dish hands and dry them off so you can touch your phone screen and doesn't do that weird thing where it doesn't quite work. And make sure to open your phone, Face ID, do what you gotta do. Pull down the mask. Like if you need to do the Face ID, I won't tell anyone. But what we need is for you to check out the podcast app that you are currently listening to this on and give us a 5-star review or give us a thumbs up. Maybe leave us a rating, a review. Any of that stuff is so helpful for us. It really pushes us up in the algorithm and gets us further along in our goal to invading your ears with many more shows and a higher production quality and all that stuff that people say when they talk about shilling. Matt's not here. I'm off the rail. I tell you, I need him to kind of give me like a disapproving look. All right, there we go. Oh, Mike just did it and it worked really well. All right, Zaddy, I'll stop. All right, don't forget, by the way, if you like our content, we do have an entire website, goodnightgroofs.com, where we have videos like our new reviews. We also have links to our YouTube with we obviously our video reviews, and we have blog posts, and we have these podcasts, and we have all of our socials that have like TikTok and Instagram, and we post cringy videos on both here and there, and we'll post even more. I swear, if we get followers, if I get 10 followers on, I don't know, I think we have more than 10 followers on everything. I don't know how many do I have on TikTok. If I get 200 followers on TikTok, I'll post another one. It's been a while. So there you go. So very, very cool. And you know what? If you're feeling very generous and you like what we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/goodnightgroofs. Over there, we have a $1, $3, and $5 Patreon tier. The $3 tier does get you early access to our all-encompassing gaming podcast called Game Groofs. And over there, you can hear the voices of Mike and Josh. You can hear a little bit more Mike. Obviously, he will be back again on, well, not obviously. I don't know how you would know this at home. But Matt will still not be here on Friday, so you will hear Mike once again, which is exciting for all those Mike lovers out there.
Yeah.
But but if you do want to hear him on a more regular basis, he will be on Game Groofs, and of course in our great review videos and some other stuff we're working on. We're doing a lot. We have some more cool stuff and cool shows coming out in the future, definitely probably in the next week, so something to definitely check out. So make sure you want to subscribe to all of our stuff, our Twitch and our YouTube and all those main ones, so you can make sure to catch those when we post them.
Oh yeah.
Mike, do you have anything to say before we round out the day, before we head out of here?
If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, because we do have something else coming video-wise other than reviews.
Yeah.
So
Mike's been working on a special project. We're really excited. It is a special project. We're really, really excited about it. We got like some new content coming for y'all, and it's going to be, some more serialized stuff too. So which is really, really cool. So definitely keep an eye out for that. It won't just be podcasts soon. Soon we're going to have video content coming out the wazoo, wherever that may be. So on your body. So definitely. Well, I don't know. Wazoo. I don't know. We have 38 subscribers. If we get 40 subscribers by Friday, I will, I don't know, tell an embarrassing story on the podcast or something. So definitely get over to YouTube and make sure to subscribe. How will I know it's you? I won't. I'll still just tell this embarrassing story anyway. All right, that is going to be it for today's GG replay for Wednesday, September 29th, 2021. Did it live up to The Empire Strikes Back? I don't think so. It was probably more of a Last Jedi of an episode. That is going to be it for us. We will see you again on Friday. Good night, Groofs.